Hi everybody, thanks for being here again. Sorry it took me so long to make another video. On my last video, I taught you how to create line and point data into Google Earth, export that data, and today I'm going to show you how to bring that data into ArcGIS. So I'm just going to open my ArcMap in GIS software by Esri, and basically we're going to click, we're going to choose a toolbox that's able to bring that KMZ data into GIS. Okay, so after it's loaded, what we want to do is click here on Arc Toolbox. All the toolboxes are going to open. We're going to be looking into the conversion tools here from KML. KML and KMZ are same terminologies for the same thing, which is the data that comes from Google Earth. So you're going to click on your data, and in the output location, it can be just your regular geodatabase that default that GIS sends everything to. I'm just going to do that first because I'm going to re-export the data into lines and polylines and points in just a second as soon as this loads. Alrighty, so it brought my lines and points correctly. Basically what I'm going to do now, I'm going to individually export the polylines and the points. So I'm going to right click on the polylines, go to data, export data. I usually like to export this data into a geodatabase, so I'm going to show you how to quickly create one right now. Geodatabases keep your data organized, keep it in a safer environment, harder to corrupt your data if you keep it in a geodatabase. And there's a couple other perks of keeping all your data in the same database, by project. For example, if you want to edit a layer, you can edit all the layers that there are within the same geodatabase. So it's definitely there are definitely advantages of keeping in a geodatabase versus a folder. Okay, so I'm going to come here, connections, desktop, and I'm going to create my geodatabase. I'm going to call Google Earth geodatabase. And excuse me, it's just going to be called trails. Click OK, export map as a layer, yes, and I'm going to do the same thing with the points. Export data. It's already within the geodatabase that I chose, and here I'm just going to name it points of interest. Okay, yes. So I'm just going to exclude this old data, and basically here I have my more Google Earth or GIS friendly data into shape files within my geodatabase. So basically, if I want to have some context here, usually what I do to see if this data was brought correctly, I'm going to add a basemap and click here on this plus sign, add data, and on the arrow that's pointing down, and add a basemap. I usually like to bring OpenStreetMaps into here and just basically see if my data is represented correctly in the world. So we're looking into Ensign Peak. Yeah, here we are. Ensign Peak Nature Area, it's correct. Sometimes I like to bring in the imagery. Make sure the projections are overlapping. So yeah, it's pretty much, there's some discrepancy here. But that's why I like to bring it into GIS to double check, because usually I do it really fast on Google Earth and I can come here and just double check. So basically from here you can open the attribute table, and you see that you can tell it's a trail because it was within, or it's a point of interest because it's within that folder path. So that folder path will tell me, the folder that we created on Google Earth are going to tell me important information. So that's why it's important to organize it that way. So something I can do is, let's say if there's other types of points in this same point shape file, I can just come here, add a field, and I can call it type. Okay, and then I can right click and say start editing. And now that I know from the folder path that both of these points are points of interest, I can just say points of interest and points of interest. So it's just another way that I like to, from the folders, so each of the folder paths is going to tell me where it was located and what type of point or line that is. And then I can create another field that displays the information in a little more of an organized way, not so long like here. So I can just save edits. Yeah, so this data was brought in correctly. Something else I can do, I can go and edit, well, it's just already editing my trail data. If I double click here, I can edit these points, drag and edit these points as I wish, and then just click on the editor, save edits, and stop editing. So yeah, this is how you bring this data from Google Earth into Google Maps, into ArcGIS. And now what I'm going to do, I just want to export both of these point and line data. Let me change some of I'm just going to change a little bit of how these are looking. Actually, let me put some other color here. I like this yellow. So basically you have two options. It's the same toolbox in the Arc toolbox, conversion tools, but instead of being from KML to KML now, because we're bringing it from GIS to Google Earth. So you have two options. You can do the individual layers, each individual layer to KML, or the entire map to KML. Usually I like to bring individual layers when I have a very complicated map with a lot of layers and I just want to bring that one layer into Google Earth. But because this is a fairly simple, there's only 2 layers in this file, I'm just going to do a map to KML here. But first I need to save this map. And I'm just going to call it in the geodatabase. I'm just going to put it in my desktop and I'm going to call it test. So you click map to KML, basically map document. You're going to have to browse to your MXD that you just created, data frames, and then the output. I'm just going to put it into, I just want to save that KMZ into my desktop. I'm just going to call it test again, test KMZ. Click OK. You can tell it right here that it's thinking. Now if you go to your test KMZ, you just export it, you can double click on it, and it should pull up with the new line type and point type. Turn these off right here. So yeah, see, it brought the representation of the lines and points from ArcMap. Something that you want to keep in mind is that Google Earth does not display dashed lines at all. So sometimes you want to make the differentiation between proposed or existing, and sometimes we use dashed. But what I do is I use a thicker line for existing and a thinner line for proposed in that case. Transparencies also don't work really well. So you can bring the way you want it without any transparencies here, and then you can go into the properties and apply the opacity here if you'd like. Sometimes it's good to do that, but I like when they just pop more. So just keep it really basic and simple to bring into Google Earth. And like I said, if you have a complicated map document, you want to either save a different shape file and simplify it, get rid of layers that you don't need, and then save it into KMZ. Or you want to save layer by layer. Sometimes you want to do that because you just want to save a couple of different layers and bring it into KMZ. So this is how you do it. And next time I'm just going to show you how to bring this data into Google Maps and create a really public-friendly or stakeholder-friendly platform for people to give you inputs, drop pins, and make comments. So yeah, I hope you like it, and thanks again for watching.